Hello, and welcome to another update on Solana. What you can see here on the Solana chart is actually that the price is following the expectations nicely so far. In the last video, I covered in detail the idea that this move to the upside was most likely either an A wave or a wave one. So we're looking for overall higher prices, but the move to the upside is probably rather a three-wave move up. So that tells you a lot about probabilities, because really only with a five-wave move up we can, let's say, track the trend direction, right? We have some clarity about the trend direction. Now you can visually see five waves, and I can interpret it as five waves, but when we then use Fibonacci mathematics and the Fibonacci tools, we can actually see that it aligns more with the idea of a three-wave move. Now that is quite an important it's quite important piece of information, because a three-wave move does not give us much clarity about the trend direction, right? A five-wave move does. So it's a bit weird, or let's say rather unclear, messy, this structure. However, due to the context, I'm still leaning towards higher prices. The context tells me that we could move higher, first of all, into the direction of $250 and then $360 to $380. But there is a very, very clear condition, and the condition is that we're holding above Fibonacci support for this AB or 1-2 setup. Now you see Fibonacci support there on the chart. It's the orange box. The price has not yet broken out to the upside, even though there was a first reaction to Fibonacci support here on Friday, but that was, let's say, supposed to be only a B wave. Yeah, so the structure told us it's most likely just a corrective rally. We talked about that throughout the weekend in detail. The price has reached the resistance area I communicated to you, and we're now moving down in that C wave. Now that's all perfect, all perfect. I think when I made the last video, I already assumed, or at least considered, yeah, that the B wave topped and that we're now moving down in the C wave. And the ideal target area for the C wave to the downside is kind of different from the standard support zone. So support is really just, what are the retracements that are commonly reached, or usually reached in such a B wave pullback. And you see them on the chart. And the key level is at the 78.6 retracement level down there. It's $165.94. That is really the level that must hold to keep the uptrend intact. That does not mean we have to test that level, even though we could. It's more about, see these levels as zones. It's more about, okay, we want to avoid a decisive break below that level. You could say there are soft invalidation levels and hard invalidation levels. The real invalidation is when the price breaks below the low of the wave 2 here in August. That's at $156. I mean, breaking below that leaves us without any wiggle room and so on. But at the moment, we are in a local downtrend from that swing high from Thursday. And if the price breaks briefly below support, it's not a disaster. It doesn't invalidate the bullish structure here, but it will mean that probabilities start to reduce. For now, it looks like we are working on that expected C wave to the downside in this ABC structure. And as I said, I added this blue target zone, which kind of aligns very well with this trend line we talked about over the last few days with the 78.6 Fib level. And then, it's basically here this, I would say, the lower section of the support area, which could be very relevant. I pay particular attention to the trend line and the $171.50 level. Let's see if we can find support there. For now, it doesn't look as if this pullback is over. We might see a few more downside squiggles. You can see it here. We can label it 1, 2, 3. Maybe there will be another wave 4 and 5 here for a 5-wave move down in wave C. And basically that is what I'm tracking. All right. First indication we've actually bottomed would be a micro 5-wave move up and a break above that B wave high there at around 196.50. For now, the pressure appears downward still in this C wave down, and while we have reached the next Fib level at $180.25, we have not yet reached the 100% extension, and we are still quite far away from that. So I'd say at the moment we are still in a bullish structure. Within that bullish structure, we are in a corrective pullback, which could extend a little more, but ideally after the next low or so, we see an impulsive upside reaction. I'm watching for that. Obviously, I will have to change my view at some point, which would be a decisive break below $165.94. Then I will need to talk about the alternative scenarios. We talked about them already, but yeah, the structure will change below that level. That's the update on Solana. I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Also, feel free to join us on X for additional updates. There are additional chart updates. You can also let us know which coins you want to see analyzed and much more, news, all sorts of things. Check it out. The link is in the description and in the comment section. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.